I wasn't expecting to win, qualify, pro card, any of that. My initial goal was to get on stage. So we sat down, had a discussion and said, okay, how do I finish this? How do I finish what I set out to do, regardless of what the end looks like? How do I get to the 3rd of October and put that tan on, put my trunks on and walk out on stage with my head high? A lot of bodybuilders look for perfection. A lot of young kids are looking for perfection. They're I want to compete, but I'm not ready yet. You're never going to be ready. You're never going to have a perfect prep. It's never going to be Ronnie Coleman, Phil Heath. You're going to walk out, win your first show, and then never look back. You're going to have setbacks, you're going to have obstacles. It builds character. It's part of the whole process. That's why as a community of bodybuilders, when we hang out, when there's me, Hunter, Brett, Bryan, and we're all just hanging out, going through preps, we all understand that we all have our own unique obstacles that we're overcoming during that time, and there's this understanding and this respect of what we're putting ourselves through. And especially as, you know, as an amateur, you start off doing it just for the hell of it. There's no big contract guaranteed at the end. We do this because we love it. And I remember at 10 weeks out, sitting in my bathroom with Donnice, and she's pregnant, and I said, like, I know this is hard on you, but I'm damned if I give up. She saw me through to the end, and in my eyes, we won. I got a perfect timing on my peak. I came in as good as I could have done, but you do what you gotta do. And like I said, my only priority was to finish what I started. I think for me, as a bodybuilder, that's the most important thing. All right, so we are, what is it, October 4th? Day after the Texas State show. I placed 2nd in the open men's bodybuilding. So it's my first US show here, which is a different experience actually. I actually prefer it. They put men's bodybuilding on early at the start, and for once, I was on stage when I was meant to be on stage, which is a very novel and very fun experience. A lot of UK bodybuilders out there will understand what I'm talking about. There's been times where I've been due to go on stage at about 3 p.m. And you know, you time how you get your look right, and by the time I actually walked on stage for the British finals in 2017, I was about 4 hours behind schedule. So obviously you lose a certain look that you're trying to time. So yesterday went really well. I'm happy. The prep itself wasn't perfect by any means. Some of you that have followed me along on Fuad's podcast will know that I had some issues. I'll start from the beginning. I actually ruptured 2 of my discs back in December. So I had to have spinal surgery initially, had that in February. And then in March, obviously, I lost one of my closest, dearest friends, Luke Sandow, who I'm sure everybody knows. He was my long-term training partner, best friend, business partner. I was godfather to his son. It's a rough year. And off the back of that, I chatted with my wife, and we kind of decided that I'd see if I could do a show. I'm not quite sure the rationale, the reason. It just seemed like a good thing to do. My wife fell pregnant, and I wanted to see if I could do one more show before the baby arrived, and as a kind of a homage to Luke. So that's how I set out. Now, I'd originally semi-retired back in 2017 because I had some kidney health issues from getting sepsis, which is blood poisoning, and I've been battling to try to keep my health stable, which I've been doing pretty successfully. Started my prep and things were going well, and around 6 weeks out, I started noticing that my body was really reacting pretty badly. And I'm well aware enough of the things to pick up on, particularly when my kidneys start to shut down and suffer. So I went and had some blood work taken, and it didn't look too great. It wasn't as bad as I was expecting. So I sat down with Donnice, my wife. I chatted with Fuad and a couple of other guys that I'm friends with, and we discussed the options available to me. And one of the things that I'd set out to do, considering I'd had a less than perfect off season, I had my injuries, my back surgery, I wasn't expecting to win, qualify, pro card, any of that. My initial goal was to get on stage. So we sat down and had a discussion and said, okay, how do I finish this? How do I finish what I set out to do, regardless of what the end looks like? How do I get to the 3rd of October and put that tan on, put my trunks on, and walk out on stage with my head high? So we made some adjustments. My health came first. We had to, obviously as bodybuilders, you push yourself physically. We had to make some adjustments, pull back and really prioritize health. And we did, and we got it, as in my eyes, we won. I got a perfect timing on my peak. I came in as good as I could have done. I did everything I could have done, especially the final few weeks I was doing. We had to reduce my cardio intensity right down. So I wasn't doing my hard cardio, but I was doing an hour in the morning and an hour after my last meal every day for the last 3 weeks.
I haven't spilled over just yet.
No.
But good. I think I weighed in at 252 the night before the show, and then I woke up at 242. So I think this morning I was 248. So I'm around 248 right now. Everyone asks, I'm 6'1", so I'm not a little bodybuilder.
My only priority was to finish what I started. I think for me, as a bodybuilder, that's the most important thing. A lot of bodybuilders look for perfection. A lot of young kids are looking for perfection. I want to compete, but I'm not ready yet. You're never going to be ready. You're never going to have a perfect prep. It's never going to be Ronnie Coleman, Phil Heath. You're going to walk out, win your first show, and then never look back. You're going to have setbacks, you can have obstacles. It builds character, it's part of the whole process. That's why as a community of bodybuilders, when we hang out, when there's me, Hunter, Brett, Bryan, and we're all just hanging out, going through preps, we all understand that we all have our own unique obstacles that we're overcoming during that time, and there's this understanding and this respect of what we're putting ourselves through by choice. And especially as as an amateur, you start off doing it just for the hell of it. There's no big contract guaranteed at the end. We do this because we love it. And I remember at 10 weeks out, sitting in my bathroom with Donnice, and she's pregnant, and I said, like, I know this is hard on you, but I'm damned if I give up. I'm too committed to this now. And she was incredible. I put a post up on my social media, and it was sincere. I would not have made it through to the end of the prep had it been just me on my own. Like, she, even without saying anything, she saw me through to the end, and that's important too. I've done preps before where I've hidden from bad relationships, from financial stress, and as hard and difficult as the prep was physically and the obstacles I faced, I think mentally it was probably one of the easiest things, because the support network I had around me, from the sponsors I have, the guys here, my wife, the family, the baby on the way, Obviously losing Luke was the big kick in the teeth, but that motivated me. And there was something I put up on my Instagram, which I felt, I was unsure whether to post it. Some of you may or may not have seen it, but when you're in a prep, you're very focused, you're very laser focused. And I started my prep about a week after Luke died. And I grieved a little bit. And in my gym at home, I have a picture of Luke and I up on the thing above my squat rack. And I look at it every day and I think about Luke every day, and that's fine. Well, when we loaded the truck to head to the hotel and I put my music in my ears and Donnice was driving, I just sat back in the truck. I lost it. For a straight hour, I bawled my eyes out, and I think I finally grieved because, and again, a lot of competitors will know this, once you're on the way to the hotel, you're kind of done, right? Once you get checked in, it's feet up, eat, check, coaches, pictures, water manipulation, eat, pictures, pose. It's just formality stuff, right? The stress is done, you're just waiting to get on stage and present. And it was my first show that I'd done without Luke. And I've sat there with obviously Donnice driving, and I think everything hit me all at once. And it was an emotional weekend for that reason, more so than I'd anticipated. I thought I dealt with the emotion through the prep, because I'd had times where I train on my own now, and I'd had times where between sets I would think about Luke and use that as fuel and as motivation. And then my posing routine last night was to Doomsday. It was an Architect song. It's actually the song that Luke used for his Olympia debut back in September. So for those of you that didn't know why or haven't heard that music before, that was the reason for it. That was my homage to Luke. So yeah, that kept me going for sure.
Frozen over, the cold still burns underneath my skin. The water's rising all around me, and there's nothing left I can feel. All these tears and shame, I saw the world by his friend. You said just keep it down. Whatever was in my eye. They say the guns I have no use in saying what it's on is done. 'Cause it's not enough. Now when the light gets by, it's like a brand new Tuesday. What will be, every river goes itself.
Obviously I have my baby son arriving in the next 3 weeks, so that's my main priority. Aside from that, in terms of the industry, bodybuilding, etc., obviously I've just signed with GASP, which I'm incredibly excited about. It's actually, I wish I could call Luke, because when Luke first started out bodybuilding, all my GASP stuff that I have before last week, it's all Luke's stuff. It's all the stuff that Luke gave me when he signed with another company. He signed with another clothing company, and he went, I can't wear any of my nice GASP stuff anymore. So I literally inherited all of his GASP clothing. And it's ironic, I really want to text him and be like, you'll never guess who I signed with. I signed with GASP. So we're going to be doing some cool content, hopefully, in the next coming months, give you an insight into where I'm going. Me personally, as a competitive bodybuilder, I caught the bug back again. I had lost it a little bit. So something that we were talking about earlier was when I was training with Luke, it became difficult for us both to work towards being the best that we could be. At some point, Luke had to become the priority, which made absolute sense and logic, and I was more than happy to do that. And to get to the Olympia was the goal that we set out to do, and we achieved that, and it's something that we're both incredibly proud that we did. Where I'm at now in my bodybuilding career is, obviously I can focus a little bit more on myself, so I've kind of caught the bug back in terms of, I want to see where I can take this. Obviously I have my kidney and health issues, and becoming a father, that's something that is imperative to me, that I'm here for a long time. So I will be documenting that, educating myself and hopefully educating you guys out there on how to do bodybuilding as healthy and as optimally as possible, because I think that's something that's been overlooked. And then I won't step on stage again until I'm 260 on stage. So I'm 6'1" because everyone's gonna ask how tall I am, because it's the most asked question I get. So I'm 6'1". I weighed in at 252 on the Friday night, and by the time I dropped water Saturday morning for the morning show, I was 242. So I need to put on 20 pounds of tissue at least on this 6'1" frame for me to really be competitive. So if that takes a year, 2 years, 3 years, so be it. But I'll log it, I'll document it, and I'm sure some of you taller guys out there will appreciate me giving some insight into that, because I know it's a struggle to fill out a frame. So hopefully, yeah, some educational stuff, some cool training, some heavy hardcore stuff, and Mr. Fuad Abiad will be coming down and we'll get some training footage together. I'm working on that one, so that'll be fun too. We got 3 bedrooms, sorry, 3 bathrooms at home. So we got our master bathroom, a spare bathroom, and then the guest bathroom. And the guest bathroom has 4 spotlights above the mirror. If I go and shower in that shower and I get out, and then like when I was in prep, I took a picture there and I was like, I just put on 20 pounds of lean tissue, and then I went back to the main bathroom, didn't change it. Like I even walked holding the same pose, right? And I went, okay, same distance away, snap. That's some shit. It's like I just deflated in 10 yards.
I gotta use that, man. I never recorded that whole thing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's awesome.
I pumped in about 20 seconds today. I was like,
I bet you looked at weights and felt like you were about to pump.
Yeah. All right, so there is a little story as well to this jersey, and I might as well let you explain.
Yeah, sure. Obviously GASP does super awesome jerseys. You can personalize anything you want on the back. So whenever we first did them, you know, my whole thing's win the day, right? So I got win the day on the back of my jersey, and you know, with the year being the way it was, it very much so was a win the day kind of year, and the jersey became very near and dear to me. And you know, wore it for a good like 4 or 5 months, like training in it very regularly, and then took it to Tampa with me. And it's actually what I wore, you know, to prejudging at Tampa and everything. And yeah, so long story short, it's very, very near and dear jersey to me, I guess. You know, as sentimental as clothing can be. But Ben been training with me the last couple weeks, getting my Olympia prep kicked off, and you know, helping him finish up his prep. Obviously, it came to a head last night, but yeah, I wanted him to have that, and actually gave it to him a couple weeks back. For those of y'all that don't know, you know, Tampa was one of Luke's best showings ever. He placed second to Dexter, Mr. Olympia, the year previous, and you know, from what I've heard from Ben, it was like one of their favorite experiences together. So. Couldn't have thought of a better person to have that jersey, and it was really cool to be able to give it to him. You know, Ben's been a friend of mine and in my corner for a long time now, so it's kind of cool to be able to do that for him. So that's the story behind the Win the Day jersey.
Yep, and it'll be coming to the Olympia.
Yes, it will be. Yes, it will be.
So, yeah, good times. Big fan.